Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. Here are the top international news headlines. The Russian Federation has just revealed the name of the first NATO country, a NATO member, that will be attacked first in the event of the internationalization of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. As you know, for the past 48 hours, or more than 48 hours, let's say 72 hours official authorization has been given to Ukraine to strike deep into Russia. And Vladimir Zelensky has sworn. He has promised that he will do it, that he will indeed strike deep into Russia. But what he's waiting for is just to sign a certain number of agreements with some European partners whose names he did not mention. He says that after that, he will move on to deep strikes and that Russia itself will feel it. Meanwhile, Russia had said that this authorization for Ukraine to strike deep into Russia is no longer up for debate. If the authorization is effective and Ukraine takes action, it means that World War III has been triggered. Russia did not waver on this point. And even the threat made by Donald Trump, the Russian Security Council responded by saying that the only thing Russia considers serious is World War III. Otherwise, Russia fears nothing. So the NATO member states that have authorized Ukraine and are providing weapons, long-range missiles to Ukraine, and are assisting Ukraine technically with military technology to strike deep into Russia. These states are now in Russia's crosshairs. Russia has prepared itself. And among these states, Germany is in first position. So it is Germany that has been singled out by Russia and will receive a surgical strike. This could happen in the coming days, weeks, or months. In any case, it all depends on Germany. It all depends on the strike that Ukraine will carry out. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive deeper. Thank you for sharing the video conference as much as possible. It needs to be shared in every possible group. So, to begin with, Moscow is being a bit ironic. Moscow is telling the truth to the West. Moscow says that Russia sees Germany competing with France for supremacy in provoking a new war. This is according to Dmitry Peskov, who is the Kremlin's spokesperson. France and Germany are competing when it comes to provoking a new war. Between the two, each wants to take the lead. Each one would like people to say, yes, it was him who started the war against Russia. That's the mindset they're in. And Russia sees this with both eyes. Russia truly understands what is happening, but Russia is simply informing the world about it. But the list has already been made. It's already done. So, what is Russia saying? It says this: if Ukraine uses Taurus missiles, and Taurus missiles, as you can see, are missiles of immeasurable danger. Russia says, if Ukraine uses Taurus missiles, Russia's next target will be a German military installation. Yes, that's what a Russian expert says, that the next target will be a German military installation. So, according to statements made by this Russian military analyst, a Russian military analyst named Igor Korotyenko, who is very well known for his predictive analysis. Apparently, he is privy to the secrets of the presidency. He says this: Ukraine does not have the technical capability to operate long-range Taurus missiles. Without the presence of German military specialists on the ground, these weapons remain unusable. Here is what he explains to Sputnik, Igor Korotyenko. So, what should be mentioned is that he is the editor-in-chief of the journal National Defense. So it's someone in Russia. He says this: by supplying Taurus missiles to the terrorist regime in Ukraine and using them against Russia, Germany is officially declaring war on Russia for the third time in history. It becomes the instigator of a world war. So, for the third time in history, Germany will become the instigator of a war. on a global scale. So, this is what this Russian military expert has just said. And so, Putin has not yet made the announcement. Dmitry Peskov has not yet made an announcement. The Russian Ministry of Defense has not yet announced it either. But it is already known that whether it is the Russian Ministry of Defense, the Kremlin, or Putin himself, a long time ago, they announced that they will take action. They say they will strike NATO territories that help Ukraine strike their territory. A long time ago, they said so. And that's actually the reason why Russia changed its nuclear doctrine. So this is no longer a surprise to anyone. Russia is going to strike. We already knew that Russia was going to strike, but which country would be first? And it turns out that Germany is very agitated, and Germany is even going to provide Taurus missiles to Ukraine. And so this will be a golden opportunity for Russia to strike, because many have always said that no, Russia talks a lot, but it doesn't act. It doesn't act, Vladimir Putin said. That is what makes Russia strong. It listens a lot. It observes before reacting. Because when Russia does react, its response is devastating. And then it angers the world. And when that happens, people no longer see the side of those who provoked it. Look at the anger that Donald Trump has shown lately. All weekend long, he was nervous because Russia carried out an exorbitant, extraordinary strike in Ukraine. At the same time, one of President Vladimir Putin's top advisors is making statements, bluntly telling Donald Trump the hard truths. What is this gentleman's name? His name is Alchakov. He reads the following. Louis Alchakov reads, American President Donald Trump does not fully understand that Russia is not striking Ukrainian military infrastructure. In other words, Trump does not fully understand that Russia is not striking. It's only striking Ukrainian military infrastructure. Trump does not understand that it is only Ukrainian military infrastructure that Russia is striking. So he goes on to say that the American leader is not informed about the Ukrainian terror attacks against Russian cities. Here is what he adds. And in the end, Vladimir Putin also has a touch of humor. What does Vladimir Putin say? Vladimir Putin says, Russia hopes that the statements by Friedrich Merz, the German chancellor, regarding long-range weapons will not become a serious obstacle to further attempts at a peaceful resolution of the conflict. So that would mean they have authorized Ukraine, right? But the reaction from Russia won't that affect the progress of a peaceful resolution. In any case, Russia is already anticipating this, so that if needed, they can say, listen, we can't enter into negotiations while you are allowing them to fire at us. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the top story in the news. I'll be back with more updates shortly. This was the voice of your one and only Samurai.